welcome back to Lise Loves Paper. I'm Elise, and sorry, it's been a hot minute. I we've entered our busy season here in the Craver household, and I'm sure those of you with children, and probably those of you without, but that's my lived experience. Those of you with children can probably relate that once you hit the spring season, especially if your kids do sports and whatnot, that everything feels like this giant snowball and it just goes faster and faster through the end of the school year, what with things like dances and field day and all of that kind of stuff. And we had spring break. So it's been a while. It's been hard for me to get into the craft room, although I clearly have been doing things. And I think I've talked about this before, that sometimes it can be difficult for me to do the things I know I need to and want to do, like film videos, because my desk is a bit of a mess and I have to clean it up before I can do those things. But I figured, why do that this time? Because my desk is a mess for a very fun reason. I thought you guys might like to see this. And so that's what we'll do today. So I was in the mood. I switch back and forth between like scrapbooking and art journaling, just basically based on what I'm in the mood for. And for a long time, I had been in a scrapbooking, I don't know, channel, and had been doing that, a lot of it, very interested in it. But now I have kind of moved over to the more arty art journaling. That's where my brain is and my heart is right now. And I think that probably has to do with the fact that I have started one of my mixed media classes at the local community college. I've taken this class before. I absolutely adore it. And it's only like 6 to 8 weeks long. But we started that a couple weeks ago, and that probably has a lot to do with it. And that's why I'm like in this arty mood. But long story slightly shorter, I decided that I really wanted to make a junk journal. And if you don't know what a junk journal is, it's basically just a journal made of junk. A lot of people use like legit junk. So they'll use mailers that you get in the mail, those junk mail envelopes, just anything that you would have recycled or thrown away or something to make an actual junk journal. And mine has some of that in there, but being a scrapbooker, I have a lot of scrapbook papers and whatnot. And so I have made this, and I think of it kind of like what Adele at Inky Quill calls her muckabout journal. Now, I think that she keeps that on her Patreon. So if you're not a member of her Patreon, once again, I highly recommend it. I love her stuff. So if you find her on YouTube and you like her bright, happy, fun style, I would highly recommend her Patreon. She shares so many fun things, including this muckabout journal. To get back to what, I'm in a chatty mood today. Sorry, guys. But she calls it her muckabout journal, and she's made a couple, and she has one for gardening, and she just kind of works in it. It's a bit like she puts photos in there and stories, and she puts fun stickers and whatnot. And I realized that I have a lot of things. You've seen me talk about them when I do some of my scrapbooking pages, that I think like embellishments that are super cute and super fun, and I love them, but I can't see myself using it on a page. And so I realized I have a lot of things like that they make me happy and I like them, but they don't serve a function. And so what this is to me is kind of my happy muckabout journal. That's what I decided to do. I wanted to use all papers and things that make me happy. I made a cover that made me happy. And I'm going to use it to put in those things that I just like, and I want a place to keep them. And I have to have no other reason than that. I can put pictures in here if I want to, or I can not. So that's kind of what this is for me. So I'm going to step back and talk to you about how I made it, what it's made out of. I'll give you a flip through and so on and so forth, because it's kind of like clearly in progress. I have a mess going here. But anyway, without further ado, so this, whoop, you got stuck. Please come off. This is the problem with using acrylic paints. Okay, sorry about that. I had, apparently my acrylic paint that I scraped on here was not all the way dry, and it stuck to the paper here that was on my desk. Honestly, I think you would not notice that there's even torn paper on there unless you were looking for it. But this is my junk journal. They don't have to be this fancy. I will explain what I did and why I did it. So I went to, I guess it was a thrift store slash flea market slash antique mall kind of place with the express intention of looking for a book cover, a book that I would not mind tearing apart. But that was a good size and it was sturdy. And so I found this yellow cover here. I think it was a framing book or something like that, like creative ways to frame things. And it was an older book. I think it was at least 20 years old. It was 50 cents. So clearly it was not valuable for all of those, all of you who are out there going, oh my goodness, how could you ever tear apart a book? It's hard. I'm a book lover, but I promise once you do it, it gets kind of addictive. So anyway, I liked the yellow of this cover, and I had this fabric. It was a fat quarter that I had gotten at Joann's. I don't know if they still have it because it was a while ago. But I put a piece of cardboard in here. It's like the cardboard that comes at the back of scrapbooking paper when you get it. I told you guys I save all of that. I have a ton of it over there. And I use it for things like this. And so I tore the cover off. If you were interested in making one, I'm not going to go through the whole thing here. There are plenty of amazing tutorials for making a junk journal out of an altered book on YouTube. I'm not sure I would have anything to add because those are probably much better than anything I could do. I'm still new to this. But anyway, I did that. I have added the paint. I kind of scraped on paint in a couple layers. I have white gesso at the back, and then I did the navy blue and the teals. I'm picking up the colors in this fabric that I love so much. And then I added some pinks on top, and I think I probably will put a title. I have not done that yet. I did make the spine so large because I made 3 signatures and I wanted space for it to expand in there. So right now you can see that it does not need the space, but as I add to it, I'm sure it will get very, very chunky. Speaking of junk journal tutorials, I will link to her down below, but I have been following, I think her channel is called It's Only Paper. I might be wrong. It might be It's Just Paper. But she makes a ton of altered book journals and they are beautiful. And I know that she has several like tutorials or like step-by-step how she did them on her channel. So I would definitely give her a look-see. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place today. Anyway, I put this on here. I just used tacky glue to attach this on there and it's worked very well. Since I do have a sewing machine, I did sew the edges of this. A lot of people will leave them rough or they'll put a piece of trim there, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a sewing machine. Sorry about this. These are things that I have not glued down yet. And then you can see it's not perfect. I folded it over and then I covered it with a piece of scrapbooking paper here. Then I kind of made my signatures in here, and I will flip through so you can see. I have a mixture of mostly scrapbooking papers, but some other papers in here as well. And they're in a variety of sizes. There are some pockets. It's just kind of whatever goes, whatever you like, whatever you want to work with, especially knowing that as I go on, if I don't like this being short, I can add more onto it. I can add a flippy flap. I can add a piece of paper in there. There's no rules. So I just kind of went through my scrapbooking scraps and pulled out papers that made me happy. And you'll see there are a lot of rainbowy ones in here because I find those tricky to work with in my normal scrap pulling because the color schemes, might not match what I'm already working with, but here it didn't really matter. So anyway, I did tear the edges of things. Some of them are shorter. I did, when I kind of made my signatures, tried to make sure that they would play nicely together. So this is an old map that I got at an antique store. And I'm pretty picky about my maps. I like them to have colors inside that I like. A lot of the more traditional maps do not. You'll see I put washi tape here. I did that to kind of reinforce this seam because it is old and it's very thin paper and it could tear very easily. I had added this flippy flap. So these are the kinds of things that I want to put in here. I loved this. I got it with a pair of earrings. I think I showed it to you in a recent video, but I didn't want to toss it out and I didn't really have anything to do with it. So that's what this is for. And I'd like to print out a picture of me wearing the earrings that I got to put it under here because I love the earrings too. Anyway, and so there's this paper. I decided to cut the windows out of this. I don't know what I'll put back here. We'll see. This one was just, I don't know if you can see, it's just a plain dot grid paper. It's fun to put in papers like that. And I've already started working on this page. This is from a P.F. Chang's napkin. I cut it out and then I used matte gel medium to kind of glue it down to the page, and I added a title. I'm going to put in the fortunes that I get that I keep all on this page. I thought that would be fun. Then I have, see, I have a flap here that I added. And on this side too. So it kind of sandwiches it, if you will. So I have flaps on both sides because this was left over from another page that I cut. And I love this. I love the way the colors play together. And see, it doesn't matter. I don't care that I cut the top off there at all. And here's the middle of this signature. I found this little pink heart paper clip and put it on there because I felt like it. This came in a recent kit. I'm sure we talked about it. I had it left over as a little vellum piece with like pens and stuff. Again, perfect place to put it in here. I just found a place and popped it in there. I didn't really have a plan or a rhyme or a reason. And I think that's good for me because I'm such a planner that this is going to be a good thing for me to deal with. So this is where I actually stuck 2 pieces of paper together because the size of the book that I chose was wider. It's wider than 12 by 12 papers come in. You'll see that I did this a lot. It's coming up. I need to glue that back down, but I just put a little strip there to make it look a little more intentional. But see here, I was looking to see if it's a pocket because I did make pockets on some of them. Where that paper, this one, I decided to cut these just because it's fun and I can. Here's the other side of that map. I did glue this in, I forget why, I think a bit to strengthen it because these papers are thin and I didn't want it to rip out, but also because I like the way it played against this. So this, see why I like the colors in this, the orange, the pinks, the green. Oh, it's so pretty, so pretty. If I wanted to, I could fold that over and leave it as a pocket. I'm not going to. And that's the end of that first signature there. And you see I left a decent amount of space to expand. So this one does have a pocket. I put some things in there so I don't forget it. I don't know if they'll stay there. Another one of those dot grid papers. Here's another one where I stuck 2 pieces together to extend it. This is a paper bag. I like to put those in there because they're already like built-in pockets, and I did staple this here. There's 2 of them actually, one on the inside, one on the other side. So this, the story of this, I found in an antique shop. They had for sale this book, and it was a stamp collecting book. And I've since found another one, so hopefully they're not too rare. But it was clearly a book that somebody had started collecting stamps in, but then they were done with it. And so some of the pages are like this, where they just have the grayscale of the stamp and you're meant to put it on top. But some of them had the stamps on top. And is that not just so cool? I love it. I'll show you. There's my favorite page I put in here. You'll see it. Okay. But I like the black and the white. I like the torn edge at the top. Here we have, this is another one that I added. What did oh, was that washi tape? I don't know. It's been a while. I just love it. See how it's like anything goes, and I love it. And these pages, like, I'm probably going to go through and like scrape some paint on here so it's not so white, and to kind of bring colors together. I just haven't done it yet. You see I still have my mess out here. I've been kind of like adding things as I see fit. This is the other side of that bag. I did take it apart so I could use it. I'm not loving this, so I might cut it shorter. So we have a short little pocket. We'll see. Don't need to decide right now. I made a little pocket here. This is a piece that had come. It was one of these pieces, and I tore it and made a pocket out of it. And I put this in here to remind myself that it is a pocket. But I love the way this plays with this. Oop. So you can see, by the way, the stitching. I just used twine. They do make actual waxed thread for doing this. But I think just about anything goes in a junk journal. And I used what is called a pamphlet stitch. I did a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, in case you're interested in how I did it and looking up actual tutorials. I did leave some of these on here because I can see covering up some of this with things, but I liked having that contrast. Another pocket. This was one that I extended to make it long enough to fit in the book. And so I just made a pocket out of it instead of gluing it down. This was a card that I had found in a drawer of mine over there that I knew I wouldn't use scrapbooking wise, but I might actually use here. Sorry if you hear my puppy. She is trying to communicate with me, but she's been out a million times. I think she just likes the spring weather and wants to stay outside. So this, oh my gosh, this is the stamp in the page in that stamp book that made me buy the entire book. Is this not beautiful? All of these butterfly stamps, you know how much I love butterflies. And look at it against the star page and with this floral behind it, like, I die, I love it. So there's another, this one has not been opened. This is the end of the bag and I can just cut a slit in it. I can do whatever I want when I get there. There's another map page. See, I even put packaging in here. So that's very junk journal-y. And I like it because I like this pattern. So we'll see what I end up keeping and what I don't. See, there's the center of the signature. I think each of my signatures has about 8 pages, 8 folded pieces in there, which is a lot for a signature, but for a junk journal, I didn't care. I wanted it nice and full. There's the other side of that bag. And then these. Here's the other side. See a few more butterflies. You still get that play. I love it. And that's that. So this is my happy journal, and I'm just going to put happy things in there. So you saw at the beginning, I had a friend at my mixed media class, and she had these napkins with this beautiful handmade, like hand-painted butterfly on it, and she gave me one. So I think I'm going to put that here on my front cover, along with, I don't know where that piece went. Oh, here it is. It says, find what makes you happy. I thought that was perfect, and I like the way it plays like that. So I think I might do something like that on the inside cover. I talked to you about these. I also thought this would be the perfect place for me to put in some of these vinyl stickers. I love vinyl stickers, but I don't really put them anywhere. I don't put them on my laptop or anything. So I've been collecting some, and I figured I could put some in here as well. Love this. I saw I had anxiety, I left. Anyway, so that's what this is going to be. It might be photos. I might put my pets in here and yada, yada, yada. So, I'll probably just work on this on my own because I think as a creator, it's important to have some things that are not just for content, because it keeps me more engaged in it. I feel like if I'm just doing things for YouTube, then I'm not enjoying it as much. And I don't want to get that way. I want to keep doing YouTube. So, but I will pop in if you guys are interested and show you, I guess, maybe a flip through when it's done or as a partway through. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, comments, if you would try this yourself. That's that. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Hopefully I will be back soon with another video. I'm feeling the itch to scrapbook, so maybe that. I've also been digitizing some of my old photos. When I visited my parents in Florida over spring break, I took over all their photo albums and was scanning all of them. That scanner works really well, by the way, so I can talk to you about that if you're interested, the scanning process and maybe scrapping an old photo of myself or something. But that's that. I hopefully will not be too absent, but keep in mind this is the busy season. We have soccer, we have volleyball, end of school, and yada, yada, yada. So I'll do what I can, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Have a great week. Bye.